Welcome to everyone and a hug with affection, so much affection to all of you. Many of you know that I really like this Pope, this pastor of the world. When I read what he writes, what he says, I feel that many things we had glimpsed at the beginning of this community and that we were not completely sure of, that many things we had sensed, we had realized were indeed the right things to do for us and for this new reality that was coming to being. And for example, I think one of the founding aspects of Via Pacis is the inner peace. When we began to explore this aspect, it was in response to a specific question that I did to God. God, you are telling us to be people of peace, people who bring peace, people who spread peace. But how we can be speakers of peace with the conflict that each of us carries within us, with the contradictions, with the sins, the flaws that all we have? And the Lord offers us a pedagogical path through a word from the Bible, the letter to the Hebrews, which is not exactly the easiest letter, a path where He taught us, He showed us that there are 3 stages for pacification. The first step is to lay aside every weight and sin, and therefore we were asked to lighten ourselves by laying down our more or less heavy backpacks made of our weights and sins. After that, run with patience and to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. These were the 3 stages. In the last 40 years, I have witnessed many miracles, many portents, many situations that have been truly healed, many serious situations that have been healed and cured. I have witnessed true miracles, but I have also seen that these acts of grace become vain, become nullified, really cancelled out. Is this possible? Yes, unfortunately it is. This happens because it is not enough to do the first step, that can be painful, to lay aside weight and sin, to lay down the heavy situation that we carry inside and on us, to lay down the burdens of life, to lay down the traumas. It is not enough to do this, because it is indispensable then to do the second and third step. Without the second and third step, we nullify the effect of the first one. In fact, the effect of laying down our weights and sins, it truly is the inner peace, the lightness, this feeling of flying, really of becoming weightless. But if I stop here, the Pope would say, if I sit comfortably on the sofa, well, within a longer or shorter period of time, the healed situation will become the same as before and often even worse than before. This is because the peace, the lightness, the joy and all these things that God gives us as a result of laying aside our burden and sin, as a result of laying down our wounds and sins, and all these things are all functional to set us off a path of change, of conversion, to make us change attitudes and behaviors, to make us change. It is as if I had a broken leg and I start walking crudely, limping. When by miracle that leg is healed, that's when I have to learn to walk without limping. There is an urgent need to implement a changing strategy, a strategy to change. The Pope says that we need to use strength, tenderness and struggle to the bitter and precisely to destroy, to fight every conditioning in order to be more free, to bring more life, to be more fruitful. This is the purpose of our life. Our statue, which is our Magna Carta, reminds us that the goal is to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus and therefore to have the same feelings and the same behavior of Jesus Christ. It is a very ambitious goal, but it is the goal that the Gospel indicates to us. Therefore, inner pacification, making a change and conversion of attitude must, and I repeat, really must, go forward all together. Inner pacification drives us to change. It must really push us to take care of our fragility. These are always the Pope's words, take care of our fragility. What does the Pope mean by fragility? He means our psychological part and our moral part, the weight and the sin, the wounds, and the tendency to selfishness, to close ourselves up in our interest and to do our own thing. The greater peace that God gives me is not just for my own well-being, but it's so that I can become a gift. In this time in which being alive is not so obvious, this time should push us even more to realize that if we are alive, if we are healthy, it is precisely so that our life, our health can become a gift for the others. Health, like peacemaking, like any gift, charisma or attitude that each of us has, and we all have so many, is not just for us. It is not first of all for us, but is for the others, because nothing is ours. St. Paul tells us, what do you have that you have earned? Everything have been given to you. Everything have been given to us for the stewardship, and for this stewardship we must give an account. We grow, mature, and keep the peace by giving ourselves to the others. There is no other way, there is also no other way to be able to live more and more in a relationship of harmony inside and outside of ourselves.
La storia che vi voglio raccontare è la mancanza di questo fratello che purtroppo circa 4 anni fa, per un male incurabile, in 6 mesi è morto. Era una cosa chiaramente inconcepibile per me, non poteva essere, anche perché neanche a distanza di un anno è morto anche mio papà, anche lui in 6 mesi. Una morte sull'altra io non me l'aspettavo, cioè non era possibile, signora, non è possibile, signora, perché fai questo? È arrivato anche a un punto che ho detto, proprio un momento proprio di crisi profonda mia: Signore, prendi la mia vita per darla al mio fratello. E dentro di me, in modo molto involontario, c'è sempre stata questa grande rabbia. Perché, Signore, non mi hai ascoltato? Perché mi hai abbandonato? E a un certo punto ho deciso di intraprendere un cammino di guarigione. Avevo il desiderio di amare, ma anche di essere amata. Mi sono state affiancate 3 stupende persone che con la loro sensibilità, dolcezza, amore mi hanno seguito passo passo nella preghiera e hanno sofferto molto con me, ma poi hanno anche gioito alla fine di questo percorso. E questo cammino è durato per un bel po', diciamo, non è stata una cosa molto semplice, anzi è stato molto faticoso, anche perché dovevo iniziare a riguardarmi dentro, andare in profondità del mio cuore. E lì sono uscite delle paure, delle grandi paure. E nel cammino ho scoperto che questa rabbia, che io inconsciamente non lo sapevo, ma veniva dalle mie origini, dal mio stato di famiglia. Io ho avuto una famiglia veramente che mi hanno amato tantissimo, sia materialmente, moralmente, però per le loro fragilità o per cosa, non lo so, ho sempre sentito un senso di abbandono. E la morte di questo mio fratello mi ha fatto vedere, cioè, la rabbia e l'abbandono nella mia vita, e che mi ha portato ovviamente a fare chiusura nelle persone e logicamente verso Dio. Ma lui c'era, lui era con me, mi ha fatto sentire proprio una perla preziosa, qualcosa di meraviglioso. È stata una cosa magnifica, una cosa che mi commuovo, perché è stata una cosa stupenda, perché ho incontrato il Signore nel dolore, nella perdita di questo fratello, nella mia debolezza, e io ho gioito e gioivano anche i miei fratelli che mi accompagnavano in questa cosa. E io non potevo che rispondere solamente: Eccomi, Signore.
We are living a difficult time, an unforeseen time and unimaginable time until last year. Never would I have thought to live a worldwide time with this suffering, with this pain, with so many deaths, with so much sickness, with so many people affected in their work, affected in their dignity, especially the poorest. Who are the most vulnerable? Are those who are the most affected in their health, in their job insecurity, in the impossibility of being able to work because their job was precarious. I'm touched, and I often lose sleep thinking that truly many of my brothers, our brothers, are in this situation. The world is in crisis, the economy is in crisis, politics is in crisis, and science is in crisis. It seems that there is a situation of planetary crisis, and I would say that each one of us a little bit is in crisis, and relationships are in crisis, especially relationships are in crisis because people around us, the others, have become dangerous. They can infect me. They can become an agent of death for me. This pandemic, this COVID, is an unrelenting X-ray because it lays us bare. It lays bare who we really are. Our selfishness emerges, our lack of freedom emerges, our idols, our slavery, our needs emerge, our defenses emerge, our resentments emerge, loneliness, fear, conflict, our neuroses emerge, worries, violence, conspiracies, and many other things. Good also emerges, but as always, the good makes less noise than the evil. What to do then? I believe that we must let ourselves be hurt by the suffering of the world. We should let ourselves be hurt by the suffering of others. We should let ourselves be touched by the pain of others, knowing that the pain of others, the suffering of others makes me suffer, makes each one of us suffer, and so it is indispensable that I drop my defenses, my armor, that I drop my hardness, my superficiality, my indifference. It is necessary that I drop my defenses in order to be touched by your suffering, by the suffering of all. This is a time that can also be a time of great opportunity, as always. A great opportunity to go to the roots of us, to the root of the meaning of our life. And a question that I feel for myself, that I feel for Via Pacis is, what is God asking to me in this time of desolation, in which first to suffer is himself? What gifts am I neglecting? What gifts am I not tinkering with? What gifts I am bearing? Maybe I need to remember myself and remember one another that we are a community, that we are a people, and we must fight against the temptation that comes to us to return to the private, to our well-covered houses, while these houses goes down the drain, the Bible would say. Perhaps we need to remember to whom we belong, to whom we are. We belong to God and we belong to one another. Maybe we need to recover our memory, which has a bit of oblivion. Maybe we need to remember who we are, how we are, what God did in my life, what the community did in my life, what the specific brother and sister did in my life, so that I could be who I am today. Maybe I need to remember the rock I was drawn from. I need to remember my roots. I need to remember the goals, my goals, our goals, the reason why I am in Via Pacis. And then I have to invent. I must to ask the creativity from the Holy Spirit to invent new relational ways to be a gift, to be compassion for one another, support for one another, even by not leaving home. And the Holy Spirit give us, I assure you, He gives us creativity, love, the ability to do this in a different ways. He gives us different ways of relating, different from what we had before, but no less deep, no less full of His love and the love we have from one another. The Holy Spirit will surely give us different ways to take care for one another, which is the secret of a family, which is the secret of a community, and which is also the thermometer of our maturity, because maturity is seen precisely in this. Perhaps we also need to rediscover the depth of our charisma, to broaden the depth, the roots of this charisma, and thus understand something more about peace, peacemaking, joy, even at this time, and solidarity, sharing with the poor. Sharing with the poor must question us more, must touch us more, must touch our hearts and our wallets more, especially for us Europeans. We can get out of this terrible situation, perhaps less selfish, perhaps less centered on ourselves, perhaps less centered on our presumed or so-called needs. Perhaps we can come out more humble, more sober, with the awareness of having discovered a little more that what is essential and what is accidental in our lives. Perhaps having discovered a little more who God really is, who we really are, and who our brothers and sisters are. Discover a little more the essence of our lives, which is the one of being children, beloved children. Children loved by the same Father, and therefore brothers and sisters to everyone. And perhaps we can get out of this pandemic by living a word of the Bible, a word very dear to me, that I ask to be put on my tombstone. A word that say, I will transform the valley of Achor into a door of hope. Maybe we can get out of this situation by discovering a little bit more that we are really all in the same boat and that we are really do not save ourselves. This is the truth.
Ho avuto dei sospetti perché espettoravo sangue, ho iniziato a fare delle ricerche mediche e da questo è venuto fuori che avevo un tumore al polmone. Sono a un quarto stadio, un livello non operabile, quindi nessuno può con un bisturi togliermi il tumore o la bestia come la chiamavo io. E l'unica alternativa è la chemio. Quando ricevi una diagnosi del genere è una cosa molto, molto dura. Io ho dei figli e hanno ancora bisogno di me e la reazione è stata tragica, perché il grande Andrea ha avuto come un rifiuto e non ne ha voluto parlare per un sacco di tempo.
La piccola invece sembrava che avesse compreso, però invece rimuginava tantissimo questa cosa e quindi era arrabbiata e manifestava rabbia non con noi, ma a scuola con gli insegnanti, tutta una serie di atteggiamenti negativi. Non potevo certo farmi vedere disperata perché io dovevo essere forte per loro. Quando avevo questi momenti qui, infatti mi chiudevo in bagno sotto la doccia e lì potevo dare sfogo a tutte le mie disperazioni. O la notte, quando ero da sola con i miei pensieri nel letto. E lì chiamavo il Signore e gli dicevo di venire vicino a me, di tenermi per mano perché da sola non ce l'avrei fatta a superare quella paura. Ed effettivamente io sentivo dopo pochissimo una pace interiore fortissima che mi avvolgeva, proprio come se il Signore fosse lì vicino a me. E quella paura, quell'ansia, quel buio tenebroso che mi sembrava mi coprisse, mi passava, svaniva e quindi io poi passavo tranquillamente la notte riposando bene. Ho incontrato una mia amica e mi ha proposto appunto di partecipare a degli incontri di preghiera e sono cominciati questi incontri con queste persone splendide che sin dal primo momento mi hanno fatto sentire proprio a mio agio, proprio come se li avessi conosciuti da tempo. Ed è stata una cosa bellissima perché a parte che a ogni incontro di preghiera il Signore proprio mi parlava, cioè io arrivavo lì con delle preoccupazioni, degli stati d'animo particolari inerenti al momento, insomma, come mi trovavo, e ogni volta veniva fuori una risposta dalla Bibbia mirata proprio a quella mia preoccupazione, a quel mio problema momentaneo. E lì dici proprio, ma il Signore sta parlando a me, una cosa che mi ha proprio aiutato ad affrontare la malattia in maniera diversa, perché non è una forza che viene da me, viene dalla preghiera, dal Signore. Io sento proprio la gioia, la presenza del Signore in ogni momento della mia giornata, lo sento vicino. E io dico, va bene, ho questa croce e la devo portare, mi affido al Signore perché Lui ne ha portata una molto più grande della mia e da solo e so appunto che con Lui riuscirò sicuramente a superarla. Io voglio rendergli grazie. E mi è stato proposto appunto di poter, se voglio, pregare per altri malati, perché la fede è donarsi e se con queste mie preghiere posso essergli utile, posso essere utile agli altri, perché no? Per me è importante.
Standing here in your presence, in a grace so relentless, I am one by perfect love, right within the arms of heaven, in a peace that lasts forever, sinking deep in mercy. See, I'm wide awake, drawing closer by grace, and oh, my heart is yours. Of fear captivated by the splendor of your face. In my secret place, I'm wide awake, drawing close to thy grace, and all my heart is yours. All fear removed, I breathe you in, I lean into your love. Oh, your love.
I will not leave you alone. I will send you my Spirit. This is what Jesus said to his own people before ascending to heaven. So he says to us today, you are not alone. You, my son, are not alone. My Spirit, the Holy Spirit, is with you and will always remain with you. So when you are worried, call my Spirit, and I will give you my Spirit to support you in your difficulties in everyday life. Hi everyone. Pope Francis, in his encyclical letter, All Brothers, invites to implement the culture of encounter, suggesting 6 points of contact, building bridges, planning a project that includes everyone, to ensure that it becomes a style of life and we are capable of transcending our differences and divisions. We know that in life, dimensions of relationships enters powerfully. The beauty of life is played on relationships, on the type of relationships. We live continuously in relationship, from the moment we are born to the moment when we die. The human creature is defined in interpersonal relationships. The more authentically he or she lives these relations, the more his or her own personal identity matures. Man is connected to the world. He seems to have so many friends, so many links, so many contacts, so many relationships. However, reality reveals a widespread loneliness. Pope Francis again wrote, "We are more alone than ever in an increasingly massified world that promotes individual interests and weakens the communitarian dimension of life. We gorge ourselves on networking and lost the taste of fraternity," says Pope Francis. The consequence is that subjectivity dominates. Only my world exists, and everything is ego-centered, on my needs, on my desires, losing the sense of life, the sense of living, and the sense of reality. How can we create the culture of encounter? Through relationships, it's easy. But let us speak clearly. We all want a world of peace and serenity. No one wants war, yet tension, suspicion, conflict, anger, walls and divisions marks most of our relationships. Everyone wants others to conform to their way of being, living and thinking. Let us imagine two individuals arguing with each other about one episode that happened, which, although it happened in the distant past, has left unresolved feelings. One of the persons says to the other, "Look, this and that happened. I'm the outcast, the one who has been subjected to an unfair situation or behavior." The other replies, "You are wrong. I have said something, but without the intention of excluding or offending anyone, anybody." Both are resentful and continue to support their arguments. Who's right? No one. Where is the truth? But we think there's a truth? No. Why? Because we all believe that our memory is objective, but we also know that the mind selects. Each episode, it makes us see and remember only some of the aspects, the selected ones, not the whole reality. Each of the two contenders retained different and contrary sensations from their brain and experience. In order to learn how to have good relationships, there are courses, seminars, with a lot of beautiful explanations, how dynamics occur, how to accept the limits one of the other, how to educate oneself to love each other, how to take care of communication, how to carry each other's burden, how to deal with conflict dynamics, forgiveness. Of course, these are a lot of beautiful words and beautiful concepts. But in practice, what I have to do, if we look inside ourselves and around us, we realize that often the problem is not rational, but emotional. We can have very clear ideas, but live in a constant state of defense, or worse, in a state of war. Even if you don't want it, you live in the center of the world, everything must revolve around you. You insist to be always right, to be the yardstick for all behaviors, and worse, you lend yourself to gossip and slander, jealousy and envy. If someone scolds you, you raise barriers and walls. You judge everything and everyone. This is the pattern, and this is the atmosphere we breathe. In practice, this pattern must be overturned from the dominance of the I over the you to the dominance of the you over the eye. This is possible only by beginning, as St. Paul says, do not conform yourself to this age scheme, to the way of living of this age, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Chapter 12. In the relationship, you must be willing to lose something of yourself. Time, thoughts, ideas. God exists, but it's not you. So, the fundamental question is, what is the fundamental element for relationship? Dialogue. Dialogue is made up of two elements: words and silences. Words and silence for listening. So in the Gospel according to Mark, we read, one of the scribes asked him to Jesus, which is the first of all the commandments? Jesus replied, the first is this: Shema Israel, hear, O Israel. The Lord our God is Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The first thing that Jesus says is listen, listen Israel. And listening is only made possible through silence. Today, everyone talks and no one listens. The people speaks, we cannot get him to finish, and immediately have either the answer or the argument for debate, focusing only on our own vision. We are no longer able to remain silent. Silence is not just the absence of words or of voices, but is the ability to welcome, esteem, friendship, fraternity, relationship, empathy. From silence comes the word. From the pauses of silence comes a fruitful dialogue. From silence and listening, dialogue communicates and unites. In dialogue, pauses of silence are important, fundamental. As in music, pause give value to all the notes that make up a piece of music. In the musical score, there are special symbols for this function. A pause is indispensable to sustain the entire musical disclosure. In silence, I listen. Listening is a challenge, is a hard work. It is going beyond the words. It is to perceive not only the words, but also the thoughts, the state of mind, the most hidden meaning. Silence is difficult. Listening is difficult. Dialogue is difficult. The culture of encounter is difficult. Why? Because we struggle to change our mind, our thoughts, from the pattern scheme atmosphere that we breathe without being aware of it. So you can say, why? But I believe in God, I work for His kingdom, I pray, I do works of charity, volunteering. So what is missing? A lot of people believe in God, believe in His word. But putting it to practice is another matter. It is likely that a third type of conversion is lacking. The one mentioned by Friar Cantalamessa in his first sermon of Lent, when he refers to the letter of the Church of Laodicea in the Revelation book. It says, I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. So, because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth.
Sto per vomitarti dalla mia bocca. Si tratta
Be earnest and repent.
di passare dalla conversione,
So the focus
dalla
is
mediocrità,
here,
dalla tipidezza,
passing from conversion of being mediocre and lukewarm of being fervent. Have
alla
passion.
passione per Gesù. Vuoi non accontentarti del
Do you
poco?
want not
Vuoi
to
uscire
settle for
dalla
less?
mediocrità, dalla
Do you want to
tipidezza?
get out from
Vuoi mettere la tua
mediocrity?
vita completamente
Do you
nelle
want to
mani di
put your
Dio?
life completely in
Vuoi
God's
essere
hands?
veramente
Do you really want to be a facilitator of the culture of encounter?
della pace?
Then, in dialogue,
Nel dialogo
try
sii
and
capace,
try
come
and
dice
be
Papa
capable of
Francesco,
saying
di
words
dire parole
of
di
encouragement,
incoraggiamento,
comfort,
parole che confortano,
strength,
parole che danno forza, che
consolation,
consolano, che stimolano,
stimulating
e
people,
buttar via,
and banish words that demean, sadden, irritate, offenses.
che irritano, che disprezzano. Ti lascio una
I
parola
leave you with a
d'ordine
watchword to use
da usare
always,
sempre,
always
sempre,
and always.
sempre, una parola molto semplice.
If this is within your possibilities, this is a simple word, dialogue.
da oltranza.
Dialogue to the bitter
Dialogo
end,
nella fatica,
dialogue in
dialogo come
fatigue,
silenzio,
dialogue
dialogo
as
come
silence
ascolto,
and
come
listening,
coraggio, come
dialogue
speranza,
as courage, dialogue
dialogo
as
come
hope,
libertà.
dialogue as freedom.
Buon cammino
Have a good journey,
e Dio vi
and
benedica.
God bless you all. Dear brothers, I am Carlos Arturo Quintero Gomez, Bishop of the Diocese of Armenia in southwestern Colombia. I would like to congratulate you on the spiritual retreat you are experiencing, to greet each one of the members of the Via Pacis Association at international level, and tell you that this is a time to build a stronger brotherhood. Pope Francis, in his encyclical letter All Brothers, talks about universal brotherhood, beginning with the words of Saint Francis of Assisi: we are all brothers, brothers in Jesus Christ. We need to become aware of the mission and role that we have in the world and in history. Armenia's diocese is committed to spreading this encyclical letter of the Pope. However, it's not only important to know the letter, but above all, it is basic to put into practice the ideas and the challenges required by the words of the Pope. I would like so to highlight three concepts. First, we have talked about the encyclical letter with the diocese's priests and the readers of some newspapers of the department of Quindio, having the idea that it's possible to make many challenges of all brothers and put them in activity of Caritas and the particular Church of Armenia. Second, we think it is important that all brothers become true through the social action of the Church. Jesus Christ told us, "You will always have the poor with you." Pope Francis reminds us, the poor evangelize us. Pope Francis has given us the encyclical Laudato Si', where he highlights something important. The cry of the poor is the cry of the earth. For this reason, the Diocese Caritas Social Ministry, we wish to open a department or an area for the spreading of this letter of the Pope, All Brothers. And we would like to base it on what the Pope wrote on this letter. The Pope tells us that there can't be no public policy for the poor today without the poor. This is the reality. And I want to add that we can't think of a pastoral for the poor without the poor. We must have the same smell of the sheep. This implies getting closer, overcoming the limits of difference, which at times hinder the possibility of getting closer to the other, of feeling him, of recognizing him as a brother. It implies looking the other person in the eyes and recognizing in the other person the living face of Jesus. When I draw near to the poor, the one without shelter, the beggar, with him I can have a special relationship that takes place in the encounter, in the possibility of embracing him and making it possible for this person, poor from the material point of view, to feel that God loves him. God loves him through this servant. I become an instrument in God's hand. For this reason, we can put the encyclical All Brothers into the life of the Church, starting to live it from the poor, for the poor, and with the poor. Third, the Pope launched a great challenge, an historic challenge to the politicians, the great religions, and each lay believer to be committed to build a universal fraternity. This is an historical challenge, Our governments need to plan public policies that involve social investment that helps us to think of a person as a person, always. Because Jesus always looked at the heart of the person. In the encounter with the Samaritan woman, in the encounter with the adulterous woman, in the encounter with the born blind man or the leper, Jesus always entered the innermost part of the person and freed his pain. Then, by healing them, he reminds us that it's important to take care of the whole needs of the human being. This call from Pope Francis helps us understand that the only way to build peace is just in preparing targeted policies, with the Church involved too, with its voice. Therefore, it is very important to understand that the Church as a mother and teacher points out a path to us, the path of fidelity to Jesus as Mary and the apostles did. On this path, we understand that holiness must be built up every day in our daily lives, along with the people we live with and any people we have a relation with, and being aware of the necessity to stay with our feet on the ground at the same time the gaze toward heaven. So at last I would like to invite you, dear brothers in Via Pacis, to open your heart to the Lord and to fill it with His divine love. Take advantage of this spiritual retreat and confirm more and more your desire to become peacemakers. May the words of the prophet Isaiah touch you. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation. May God bless you.
Donessa, maaari mo bang ipakilala ang iyong sarili?
Ako po si Donessa Balanday. Kami po ng aking pamilya ay dating nakatira sa Catarman, Northern Samar. Isa po sa mga lalawigan ng Silangang Visayas. Kami po ay 5 magkakapatid at ang nanay ko po ay si Josefina Balanday. Ang tatay ko naman po ay si Lidonio Balanday. Ako po ay isang single mother at ito po ang aking anak na si Aya.
Ano ang nagdala sa iyo sa Mindoro at pagkatapos ay sa Angel's Home?
Mahirap lang po ang buhay namin sa Samar. Tuwing bagyo po nararanasan po namin na lagi pong natutumba ang bahay namin. Lagi pong inaayos kapag may dumadaan na bagyo. Lalo na po nung nadaanan po ng bagyong Yolanda at saka bagyong Nona po. Yun po yung pinakamalaking dagok sa buhay namin. Nagkaroon po kami ng malaking problema dahil lahat po ng kabuhayan sa Samar ay nawala po. Kahit po sa Papa, magsasaka po siya, nawalan din po ng pangkabuhayan doon sa sakahan namin. Natumba po lahat ng niyog, lahat po ng kabuhayan sa pagsasaka. Mangingisda din po si Papa, tapos yun po, kapag may bagyo, wala pong isda kasi sobrang lakas po ng alon. Tapos doon naman po sa nagkaroon po kami ng malaking dagok po nung nasabugan po yung pamilya ko. Nasabugan po ng granada. Namatay po yung kapatid namin. nahati po yung katawan niya. Si mama po, na-paralyze po yung kalahati niyang katawan. Okay naman na po yung katawan ni mama, pero may naiwan po ng mga bala sa loob ng katawan niya. Tapos namatay po yung ugat sa kalahati niyang katawan. Kaya hindi niya na po magamit yung kamay niya. Yung papa ko naman po, nabingi po siya sa sobrang lakas ng impact ng granada. Yun po yung araw na hindi namin makakalimutan sa kanila. Kaya nagdesisyon po sila mama na umalis po, magpunta po sa Mindoro. Kasi hindi po namin makalimutan yung nangyari sa kapatid namin. Dito po sa Mindoro, nagkaroon kami ng panibagong buhay. Nakitira po kami sa bahay ng ate namin. Hanggang sa pumunta rin po ako sa Maynila para po magtrabaho, tulungan sila mama. Kaya lang po, nagkaroon din po ako ng malaking dagok din po sa buhay ulit. Nabuntis po ako, hindi po ako pinanindigan. Hanggang sa umuwi po ulit ako kila mama. Dito na po ako nanganak sa Mindoro. Panibagong buhay na naman po ulit, kasama na po si Aya, ang anak ko. Sobrang hirap pa rin po kasi hindi ko alam ang gagawin ko. Hindi ko po alam kung paano ko buhayin ang anak ko. Kasi wala naman po trabaho sila mama. Ako lang po at ang kuya ko ang inaasahan. Kaya po nung napadpad ako dito sa Angels Home, malaki pong pasasalamat ko. Kasi tinanggap po kami ni Aya. Tinanggap po kami na walang tanong, wala po kahit ano. Niyakap po yung buhay namin dalawa po, ng kaming anak ko. Malaki ang pasasalamat ko po kasi nabuhayan po ulit ako ng loob. Nagkaroon po ulit ako ng pag-asa. Kasama ko pong mabubuhay yung anak ko. Magaan po sa pakiramdam. Dito po ako nakaranas ng masayang buhay. Nakasama ang anak ko. Hindi ko na po hinangad yung buhay sa labas. Sobrang hirap po. Dito nakita ko rin po na mahal niya si Aya. Kaya
Paano mo nakilala ang Via Pacis?
sinabi po sa akin ng mga madre sa una pa lang na tumatanggap po kami ng suporta galing sa Via Pacis. Pero hindi ko pa po alam kung ano ang Via Pacis noon. Dahil ang alam ko lang po ay masaya po kami na nakatira po kami dito ni Aya. Ngunit lagi ang Via Pacis po ay nakasulat po sa maraming lugar at pinagdarasal po namin sila tuwing gabi. Kaya doon po ako nagtaka at tinanong po kung ano ang Via Pacis. Nalaman ko rin po na ang Via Pacis ay tumutulong po hindi lang sa amin kundi sa daan-daang kabataan para makapag-aral po at sa mga taong may sakit po para po gumaling at sa mga pamilya na para makaahon sa kalamidad. Doon po, nakaramdam po ako ng biyaya mula sa Via Pacis at pasasalamat po.
Ano ang gusto mong sabihin sa Via Pacis?
Maraming salamat po. Binigyan niyo po kami ng panibagong buhay ni Aya. Maraming salamat po sa pag-asa at sa bagong buhay. Hanggang ngayon po, dinadala ko pa rin po yung sitwasyon po nila mama. Lalo na po si mama. Kasi po, hindi pa po natatanggal yung bala sa loob ng katawan niya. Ang papa ko po ay nagkaroon ng sakit na tuberculosis at nangailangan po siya ng gamot. Ako po at saka si Aya ay nakatira sa Angels Home. Pero ang magulang ko po ay nangailangan po ng maayos na lugar na matutuluyan. Dahil po sila po ay palipat-lipat po ng bahay. At kapag po may natutuluyan sila, pinapaalis din po kaagad. Kaya nangailangan po sila ng matutuluyan. Hindi po kami tiga dito sa Mindoro at hindi rin po kami makakabalik sa lugar po namin. Gayon pa man po, natutunan ko pong magpatawad at mangarap po para sa buhay namin ni Aya. Utang na loob po namin ang lahat po ng ito sa mga taong tumulong po sa amin, lalo na po ang Via Paces. Hindi man po ito ang araw na magkikita po tayo. Titiyakin ko po na magkikita po tayo sa langit at doon po ako magpapasalamat sa inyo.
Salamat po, Via Paces. Mami, salamat